Well, Jarrod, thanks for coming on and visiting with us today. Talk to us a little bit about your journey from high school to the military.
Well, I graduated from Mattoon High School in '97. From there I went to Lakeland, and I was an average student in high school. I didn't do so well at Lakeland, so after a couple years I finally decided that I was going to join the military. I enlisted in the Army, active duty, and went to Fort Benning for basic training. From there I went to Fort Drum with 10th Mountain Division. A few years later I was in Schofield Barracks in Hawaii, and now I'm back here at Eastern.
So did you serve any wartime conflicts?
I did. I went to Afghanistan in 2001 with 10th Mountain Division. I was there through Operation Anaconda and all that. And then we came back spring of 2002. Spring of 2003, we went to East Africa. We were in a country called Djibouti and Ethiopia a little bit, so around the border of Somalia. Spent about 6 months there, came home, moved out to Schofield Barracks in Hawaii, went back to Afghanistan in the fall of 2004, back home in the spring of 2005, and then in December of '07 I went to Iraq, and I got home in January of 2009.
So you and your family had moved around quite a bit.
We've been around a little bit.
What was that like for your family to move around that much?
You know, the adjustment from being in upstate New York at Fort Drum and moving to Hawaii was really different. You know, at Fort Drum we were still close enough where if we had a 4-day weekend or something, or a holiday weekend, we could make it home. Hawaii's a little different. There's a 5 or 6 hour time difference depending on what time of year it is, so it's hard to even get a phone call back home sometimes. It was challenging moving to Hawaii with, it's such a different culture and a different attitude, and just everything is different out there. It took about a year to get used to it, and my wife, we found out she was pregnant right when we moved to Hawaii, so that kind of changed things too, and we were doing that all by ourselves. It was different, but by the time we were done in Hawaii, we didn't want to come back. So.
Yeah, a lot of people think, oh, moving to Hawaii, what a great deal. But it is, it's an island. It's a long ways away from the U.S.
It is.
Well, tell me about, what were some of the things that you took away from being in the military?
I learned a lot about myself and kind of what I can do and what I can't do. When I was in Iraq, a couple weeks before the Honolulu Marathon was supposed to be run, a couple guys come up and said, hey, we're going to run the marathon. You should run it with us. And I was like, I haven't ran in a year. I've been doing patrols and stuff every day. I haven't been running at all. And they're like, oh, who cares? Let's just do it. So we went and ran the marathon and finished.
Wow.
I mean, I didn't have a record-setting time or anything, but I finished it. And I never would have thought of doing anything like that before I joined the Army. I remember thinking of the 5-mile run in basic training, and I thought it was going to kill me. And, I did it. But it's been great because I guess I've been through enough bad situations that nothing really seems that tough now.
So you got out at when?
I left active duty in June of 2009.
Okay, and then what was your next step?
I signed a contract with the reserves for a year, and I did that. Didn't really care for the transition from active duty to reserves very much, so I finished up that contract. But as soon as I got out in June, I was back here in Illinois and started Eastern in August.
Okay, so talk about your decision to go back to college. You're a little bit older. I don't want to say you're old, but what's it like going back to school as one of our non-traditional students?
People ask me before I even came back to school, they said, how are you going to deal with being in college with all these 18 and 19-year-old kids? And my answer to that was always, well, who do you think I took to war? I was leading soldiers in Iraq and Afghanistan, but they were all 18, 19-year-old kids fresh out of high school who decided to enlist. These kids are the same age as most of the soldiers that are over there. So that's really not different. I definitely feel like I bring a lot of experience back to the classroom. It seems like a lot of students wonder, well, how am I ever going to use this in the real world? And I feel like I've been to the real world, and now I'm coming back and learning what it was called.
So do you use some of your military background or some of that training? Does that come in handy as a college student?
It definitely can. It's not too bad working under pressure when it's a deadline for a paper or something. I'm used to making decisions and things in combat, and then you come back and it's like, well, I got a paper due tomorrow. I'll probably write it in the morning. Which is not always the greatest way to do things. But I've also been able to tie a lot of what I've learned in the military and just my experiences from being all over the world and living in different places around the country. I'm a history major doing secondary teacher certification and a minor in English, and I've also done all the classes for mid-level education as well. And it makes it a lot easier when we're talking about diversity and cultures. Talking about history, I've had professors say, oh, here's this poem about World War I. What do you think it means? And I know what it means because I've done the same things that the writer is talking about. So, and I've written so many papers about war and about different places that I've been, and it's been really helpful having all that experience to write about and talk about in class.
So you obviously took advantage of the educational bills from the government for being
Yes.
For having served. What path did you take, or which bill are you using?
I'm using the Chapter 30, the Montgomery GI Bill, which was before the post 9/11 GI Bill. When I enlisted, they also had the Army College Fund as an option, which just added money to the GI Bill. They also have an option. You pay for the GI Bill, the old GI Bill, you paid $100 a month for the first year. They have an option where you can pay an extra $600 and it adds to the amount that you receive when you actually get out of the military. So I did that. I had the Army College Fund added, and then of course the Illinois Veterans Grant covers tuition and all that. So I've been fortunate. A lot of student veterans go to school and they still have to work and everything. So with my wife's income and my benefits and everything, I'm actually able to just go to school and not have to worry about a job. So I work my class schedule around getting the kids to and from school, and my wife works. And
Well, let's talk about that, because your roles are reversed. You're more the stay-at-home dad at this point, and your wife has a full-time job. How does that work?
Well, we kind of switched when I left the Army, and the deal was that I was going to follow her career for a while, and now she's stuck waiting on me to graduate, it seems like, so I don't think it was really fair. I've got a 2-year-old daughter and a 7-year-old son. We were back in Illinois, of course, when my daughter was born. My son was born just before I went to Afghanistan. My wife was always kind of the primary caregiver. My schedule in the Army, I could be called into work anytime. There was always weekend phone calls. Come in, do this, we need you for this, do something. You never knew what time you were going to leave work. So she was always the one that had to make sure Jacob, my son, was picked up and all that. Now we've definitely reversed it because she's working. Fortunately, up until this semester, I've been able to work my classes out to always be able to take the kids to school and daycare and pick them up. This semester, I've got a couple days where it doesn't quite work, but it works out with her schedule. So it's definitely been a different experience. Sometimes it's frustrating for me being the stay-at-home dad and not doing something, but at the same time, it's frustrating for my wife because she hates that I'm the one that's at home with the kids more, and things like that. She wants to be the mommy, and I think sometimes she's a little disappointed in that. But
It works out.
it does work.
So what advice would you have for other veterans that are thinking about coming back to school, and maybe those that are, not in their early 20s, someone that's your age, that's got family, and, thinking about dropping everything and being in school full time? What advice do you have?
I think you should go for it. It's been great for me. Classes have come so easily. I've been given scholarships. I've got writing that's been published. And I kind of look at it like I left a career and now the government's still paying me to do this job. So until I graduate, I feel like it's still a job. And looking at it like that and bringing everything, all my experience from the military, it's just, I would say go for it.
Now, Eastern has started the Veterans Integration Series, and you were part of that. What sort of experience or knowledge did you gain from being part of that?
August is talking a lot about bringing your military experience into the classroom and things like that. They're talking about what student veterans need. They're asking for feedback about what student veterans need and what would be helpful. So I think, honestly, probably the best thing I've gotten from it, because when they started this, I was already a senior, is the chance to say this would have been helpful and this would have been, this would have really done a lot for me when I was a newer student here. They're talking a lot about how you can compare campus life to military life, and all that is useful. And I think that he's going to start maybe looking at how you can transfer your skills in the military into college, and I think that'll be really beneficial for students.
Are there things that, now that you're out of the military, that you miss about military life?
I do. I miss it a lot. Every once in a while I got to get my fix and watch a war movie or something. I miss the friends that we had, and even my wife misses her friends, because you get thrown into that situation, and the military spouses are the same way. They're somewhere new, away from everybody they know, but they're all going through the same situation, so it's like instant friendship. I miss the excitement, and I miss feeling like I'm doing something that matters, I I really enjoy college, and I'm glad I'm at home with my kids, but sometimes I do miss the action and the excitement of it.
Well, and I've interviewed several veterans on this show. I think a lot of them say the same thing. They miss that camaraderie because it's different. It's different in the military than it is in civilian life. Is that?
I think it is because, I mean, in the civilian life, you go home, you do your own thing, but especially if you deploy with somebody or if you're training with someone for a long time, I mean, you're living together, you're doing everything the same, and you have to rely on each other. So I feel like it's different because that's kind of like your family that you're living with and you're working with and you're training with, and you know everything about them. So it's not necessarily like a friendship where at the end of the day you leave the office and say, oh, see you next week, or something like that.
Yeah. So as we wrap up here, tell us about your future plans. When do you graduate and what do you hope to do when you're done?
Well, I'll graduate in the spring after I student teach, so hopefully. Looking forward from there to hopefully getting a job in the teaching field, history, language arts, somewhere in there. Honestly, I don't have really any particulars. I just hope to get a job and go from there.
Well, best of luck to you. Thanks for coming on Veterans Matters and sharing your experience with us.
Thanks.
And we're going to take a look back at our Day in the Life of a Student Vet segment that aired previously on Veterans Matters. And in this case, a student vet had to take his kids to school and then get himself to school. Take a look.
Daddy, try to make a pose.
I'm not gonna make a pose.
How come?
'Cause it would be
Yeah,
you.
you're supposed to make a pose when you're doing this. Ha! Ooh. Make a pose like this, Daddy. Ha! How about like this? Now he's posing Mona. Ha!
You come on.
Ooh. How about like this?
You two are ridiculous.
Hey! You're ridiculous. Oh,
I'm
that's
not the one posing.
Why is this getting spicy? I'm the one, not the one.
Oh, I'm telling OJ, use your hands.
You know the spot on me?
But actually, really, I told him as soon as you were born.
I don't make the wells look like funny. I know I hate him. And that's too.
Don't quit. I'll be back in a second. Let's go. I have to wake up pretty early when I was enlisted, so it's not that bad. Besides, I've been getting up this early for like the last year and a half now, so it's not a big deal. It's just being me and them for like 4 years now, so it's nice to be able to get that time with just them in the morning. We've all got us a nice schedule. They're used to seeing me every morning, and I think about a lot of parents who aren't lucky enough to be able to do that. So yeah, it's real nice. Man, I'm feeling really bad this morning. Honestly, the hardest part of the day here is in the evening. After I pick them up and put them down for bed, then I'm actually a little tired, but then I still gotta find time to do my homework. I'm in school all day. Well, not in school all day. I'm in school for the morning, then I work all day. I pick the girls up, gotta feed them and bathe them and put them to bed. Then I finally have time to do homework. I'm usually pretty tired at that point. Man, I'm gonna need me a calculus tutor. I don't know what's going on in
this class, and I took business calculus and killed it. And I'm in there now, and I don't understand what this dude is actually saying. And then the few times I can't decipher him, then I still have no idea what he's talking about.
Is it just the terminology that's killing you?
No, it's just like I would feel better if you put examples up there.
More visual.
Yeah, you know, like actually worked a couple of problems out on the board so I could see what he was doing. My man just be throwing concepts out there like, bro, I don't know what you're saying right now.
Yeah,
I don't.
that visual goes a long way with a lot of us. Some people, they can get it like that, but I'm the same way with you. If I can see it and hear it, I'm good.
I'm like, bro, I'm not speaking your language right now. I don't get it. So I'm about to go ahead and try to find me a tutor. Because Northwestern ain't trying to take no B students. I ran it. I wasn't a 4.0 student. Single parent. I mean, I'm good now.
But you gotta think about all the other stuff you've had it with. You know what I'm saying? You got a lot of stuff.
I mean, I'm good now as far as like the classes needed for my master's. If that was all I was doing, then I wouldn't be worried about it. But then, like I said, I got Calc 1, Calc 2, differential equations, biology 1, 2, cellular biology, chemistry 1, 2, organic chemistry.
Ooh, so glad my undergrad is in psych. And my master's is gonna be in family services.
But those classes that I'm taking to prepare for my PhD, it's gonna just bust me over the head.
That's not calculating in your master's GPA.
Oh, it's not?
Oh, those are undergrad. Unless they were undergrad classes, because you have some people who you know, they might graduate and grab their degree, but they still might take some undergrad classes, say, just to raise that undergrad GPA. So you'll be fine.
Oh, so my undergrad GPA wasn't, well, it actually wasn't that good. It was only like a 3.0. But that's because of that first semester when I dropped out to go to work. And then even now, like, I'm running my GI bills up this semester, but I'm finishing my master's this semester, but then I still have work study, and I still got a lot of, there's scholarships and stuff available. So, boy, I don't know, Navy thinking like, man, we should just kept him in, man, shoot. But that was the only reason. The only reason I got out was to go to school. If they let me keep going to school in there, I'll be in there now.
Right.
Coming up on 13 years. What's your schedule like today? And so I'm looking at it and I'm a little annoyed because I'm broke because the VA is all backed up as far as like money. Like I submitted 2 checks. I haven't got no checks yet. My GI Bill money ain't come through yet. My financial aid ain't come through yet.
Mine either.
I'm like ridiculously broke right now.
I had to go over there and talk to them yesterday. They just took some of my loans out from my business. I don't know what they got going on.
So I'm broke as hell. So now what it's looking like is I'm at the Dry the Champagne tonight, come back. Dry the Champagne Saturday, come back. Dry the Champagne Monday, because I got a Monday night class, and then Dry the Champagne Tuesday. I can't do that.
Yeah, that's the thing.
I don't have the money. Like, I had to call my father last night to help me out.
You can't stay the night?
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna have to go ahead and just post it with my cousin and my brother's house. But I still can't do that Monday night because I got class here in the morning. Plus the girls gotta be in school. I'm gonna probably stay there tonight though. You know, I'm working this work study. I've been working for a whole thing. Is that the money that's supposed to come in my financial aid refund? That's not coming. So I mean, all in all, we looking at a couple of $1,000 that I'm just not getting right now. Right. That's really how I was starting to feel with stress though, like, man, I can't keep this up. Because I'm like working 30-something hours. Then I'm taking 12 credits as a grad student. Plus I'm taking that calculus, which is an everyday class. And I'm trying to take care of the girls. You know, then I'm worried about trying to get into this PhD program. And then my brother come through and now I gotta take care of you too. Like, bro, that's not gonna work.
many other classes you got today? Oh, you got the one in Champaign. That's it?
Okay, well,
Those
Monday,
two?
Monday through Friday, I got the 9950 class. Then Monday and Tuesdays, I have a night class in Champaign. It just so happens that this weekend I also have a weekend class, which is Friday night, all day Saturday. And what I'm annoyed about is like my graduate program, none of the classes are offered before 6 in the evening. So my kids are in school all day, and I'm not going to school. And then as soon as they get out of school, I got to go to school. So now I got to find babysitters and stuff like that. And I'm like, and I understand that they were trying to set the program up so that people who work can go to the classes. But I'm like, man, you can't have any classes in the daytime because not everybody
Exactly.
is working who's going to grad school. There's plenty of people who go from their bachelor straight into their master's. So at the end of the day, it just makes it even more difficult for me.
Oh, I go through the same thing in my program.
Remember how crazy it was when I was trying to find a babysitter and everything like that, and everybody was charging all these outrageous prices. And I was like, man, I feel your pain, man. This is crazy. It ain't like I'm trying to get a babysitter to go to the club. I hardly ever get to go out anyway. You know, I need somebody to watch my kids where I can go to work or go to class. And as soon as I get out of either, I'm picking the kids up. Well, I gotta pay you $90. Like right now, I'm stuck. I don't know what I'm gonna do because the VA, my VA work study is a veteran's benefit. That means it's tax-free. Not only that, but we don't get pay stubs for in there. They just deposit the money in the bank, but there is no bi-weekly thing that's saying we gave you this money, you know, at this time. There's nothing. There's no pay stub. There's no nothing. So when I'm going to get child care assistance, I don't have any proof that I'm working. And they won't give you child care assistance for grad school.
Right.
So,
I think it will cover an hours when you're at work.
yeah, right now I'm stuck. Because I'm like, how do I prove to you that I'm at work? This class is every morning from 9 to 9:50. And then after that, I just go to work. So I'm running around taking care of whatever veterans matters need to be taken care of. I have classes Monday and Tuesday evening, and then 1 weekend a month I have a weekend class. So my days are usually pretty wide open.
How often do you think about your time serving, like while you're going, like doing what you're doing now?
Oh, I mean, since I work in veteran services, typically it comes up every day, either dealing with veterans, dealing with guys who have issues, or just swapping stories back and forth. Because of my position, it typically comes up every day. Before I started working with veteran services, it wasn't really something I thought of on a daily basis, more along the lines of I just trying to find that feeling of doing something that mattered again. You know, I used to think about it that way, but nowadays, yeah, it's pretty much an everyday thing.
Are you done serving in the military, or are you planning on going back at all?
Nah, well, I won't go back enlisted, but say I'm finishing up my master's and I'm going for a PhD, so I'm going to try to get a commission when I finish up. Yeah. Hopefully I won't be too old, because I'm pretty sure there's an age limit, and I'm getting close to it.
Hi, I'm Erica Borgren, Iraq veteran and director of the Illinois Department of Veterans Affairs. Our mission is to empower veterans and their families to thrive. We do that by providing long-term care in our veterans' homes, by developing programs to address the mental health, employment, and other challenges veterans face, and by helping veterans navigate the complex system of federal, state, and local resources. Our agency is home to a team of veterans whose sole job is to help other veterans. But we can't do this work alone. We need Illinois veterans to stand up and be counted so we can better understand our veteran community and serve you better. We are calling on all Illinois veterans, even if you've personally transitioned well and aren't in need of any services, to log on to our website to stand up and be counted. You have already stood up to answer the call to service. Now, stand up and be counted to help the entire Illinois veteran community. Visit veterans.illinois.gov.
If you have questions or comments about our show, please email them to the address on the screen or give us a call during regular business hours at 581-5956. Thanks for watching this edition of Veterans Matters.